All right. How's everybody doing? Oh, wow. That chat lit right up. I'm guessing everybody's coming in from Viva and Barnes. How's everybody doing tonight? Um, it was funny. Right before they were finishing, I was listening to the last couple minutes to catch up. They were talking about Ted Kaczynski. And I don't know if you know this, but I actually interviewed Jim Fitzgerald, who was the agent very critical to actually busting Ted Kaczynski, aka the Unabomber. He is a forensic linguist, FBI agent. I just put a link in the chat if anybody wants to check that out. He caught or helped catch Kaczynski due to Ted Kaczynski having perfect language. It's a really unique case because he literally was absolutely perfect in his grammar, and that's what told everybody that yes, in fact, it was him. And where this came from was, I'm sure everybody's heard this saying, um, "You can't have your cake and eat it too." Well, there's the reverse of that, and that is you can't eat your cake and have it, which is kind of like, yeah, if you ate the cake, how can you have it? You already ate it, right? Well, that sounds weird because we don't say that. We say you can't eat your cake and or you can't have your cake and eat it too. He wrote, or the Unabomber wrote, you can't eat your cake and have it too. Now, why this is significant is because he wrote it in another place in a letter to an editor of a paper, and it is such an unusual turn of phrase that seems like a mistake. The irony is, though, the original saying was, you can't eat your cake and have it too. So Ted Kaczynski was perfect, and his perfection is what revealed that he was the Unabomber. So it's a very unique situation. His grammar is perfect, his punctuation is perfect, his spelling is perfect, 100% perfection in what he wrote. But an alternate phase being more accurate told on him, which is very cool. Ziggy's a little disturbed by my thumbnail. Good. Okay, if you look, I haven't looked into the DC clinic. I don't know about that, but that's an alien embryo. That was the point of it. It wasn't trying to. No, I'm not trying to make any kind of disturbing imagery. That was to represent the one of the short stories that we'll be coming up with here before, which is completely crazy. They did a huge document dump off of some FOIAs and things like that, where they've been fighting for a while, called unaccounted pregnancy. And when you see unaccounted pregnancy coming out of UFO and alien docu dumps, you have to go, hello, have you seen aliens? Freaking freaky. Oh my God. So we also have Elon Musk, who is very much in the news. He's in the thumbnail because, well, he's Elon Musk. I mean, he is making news right now. We definitely have to talk about that. And of course, Twitter's involved. And then there's this kind of tottering old guy in the corner. That's a video that we've seen. Will Smith, is this a Unabomber appreciation show? No, Will Smith. This is me trying to give myself credit for having a really cool interview. It's called promotion. I'm trying to get eyeballs to my EricHunley channel. I want everybody to come over there. Crazier than Kaczynski from Dove Omega. Yeah, I don't know. Kaczynski's a really weird dude. Obviously, Jim Fitzgerald, the FBI agent I interviewed, summed it up really well. He said something like, the man was a forward thinker, was in tune with all kinds of things, could understand all kinds of nuance in the world, et cetera, and except he threw bombs and killed people. So it's just a crazy thing. So here we go today. And I want to start off with a story This is from a few years back, but it's going to become relevant, I think, to something we have now. Now, do you remember? Who's telling me? Are you serious? Psaki? Really? Really? I would love to have Jen Psaki on the show. Absolutely. I don't think Jen Psaki will want to be on the show. I'm not a fan of Jen Psaki, but I will have anybody on the show and talk to them. I'm thrilled to do that. There we go. My illustrious partner, Alison Morrow. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing well. I was just about to pull up kind of a prelude to the first thing that I was going to pull up. Do you remember the dress, the famous dress from a few years back where
Monica Lewinsky?
No, that was another.
Oh, yeah, I do remember this. Yeah.
And everybody fought over whatever the colors were. Now, I'm partially colorblind, so it's kind of funny to me because I'm like, well, I'm probably wrong no matter what I do. But I bring this up because there's another dress that is actually current in the news. And I don't know if anybody's seen that. Everybody knows that Disney World and Disney is kind of in a war with Florida right now. And somebody is bringing up a gift card. And this is a very recent thing. By the way, this is not the only thing that has ever happened at Disney. If anybody has ever looked at Disney history and hidden cartoons and stuff, it is eye-opening. So, oh good, it's letting me show this article. It's Rolling Stone. As many of you know, Rolling Stone is pretty much a CIA outlet anymore. Hack journalism piece. And this is the article. In Minnie Mouse's dress, right-wingers see a penis and an LGBTQ conspiracy. So, Rolling Stone is telling us, right? They're telling us that you're crazy if you see something in a dress. So I'm going to scroll down to the gift card, and I just want everybody to look at this and tell me what they see.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's a dress. I'm having a hard time. I'm trying to see the dress. I can't see the dress. I just see what just see what the topic is. That's all I can see.
Sorry. This leaps in my, I can't not see that. And they're saying it's an innocent dress. Just a charming, innocent dress.
Let's ask Lynn. Did you hear what we're talking about?
No. Well,
Lynn, what do you see in this picture?
What do you see in Minnie's dress?
I can't.
That right there.
What are those?
No, just the whole picture.
What do you see?
I feel like maybe he doesn't see it.
It's too small for me to see.
Can you make it bigger, Eric?
I will. Here we go.
I feel like that's.
Can
there
you make
go,
it bigger? Yeah. That's an interesting choice of words.
Honestly, now that I'm just like looking at, if you hadn't told me ahead of time, maybe I wouldn't have seen it. But I totally see it, given that we were talking about it. What do you see?
I mean, does she have junk?
Does she have junk?
Yes, that is what you see. You see a dildo. I think the word is dildo. But anyway, yes, it is astounding. And
yeah,
they're claiming, and I sat there and I was trying to break it down, and my wife pointed out to me, she goes, okay, no, this is actually a puffy sleeve technically, and it goes a little arm piece there, and then there's a skirt, but do not tell me that there's nobody with artistic vision in the entire place that couldn't say, that might not be the best angle.
Yeah. I couldn't even see, when we first looked at it, I couldn't see the dress. All I could see was the phallic.
This is real. This is an actual Disney gift card sold at Target a few years back. But Disney is full of this. If you want to,
Lynn just said, you're live.
I thought you were doing a pre-show thing.
I thought we were just talking.
I'm glad I didn't
let
it rip.
Anyway, if you look up Disney and the art now, and I've actually excused Disney for it because I know there was like a labor battle between one of the main artists and Walt, and I thought that if I was if there was an artist there and he was kind of trying to battle it, subversive art that was thrown in there deliberately to say F you to the man. But there's a history of this. And it's not just Disney. Don Bluth, Land Before Time. People have spent some time out there and they have found all kinds of phallic and interesting images in their art. So to the chat, does it not look like what we're saying? Because if we're crazy, that's fine. I mean, if it looks like a perfectly innocent dress, cool. Let us know. But yes, Mickey's, yeah, exactly. Mickey's grip, that really helps, enhance this. It's like,
I honestly like without his grip, I'm not sure it would work.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
That definitely knocks it over the top. And I do admit that there is this little tiny right here. I don't know if you can see that little sleeve, but you got to dig to see that. I mean,
right
on the gift card, it's like not at all apparent.
Smaller. Yeah, exactly. When it was smaller, it was like I couldn't even see that she was wearing a dress.
So yeah, and okay, somebody's pointed out, Ziggy shrugs. Yes, there's a Zoom meeting. There's a high-level president in Disney who wants LGBT representation from all of these and all Disney movies, and they're working to remove any kind of quote normative or heteronormative material out there, which is really, I mean, it's very frustrating. I'm not trying to take away from any other subculture, obviously, but it's like, can we have something in the middle? Anyway, so I wanted to share that. I don't know if that's a light thing, but it's definitely a different thing. And the next story, this one's kind of light, but kind of creepy at the same time, which is sort of the way of things anymore. Mark Zuckerberg says his employees lovingly call him the Eye of Sauron. Yes, that is it.
Wait, go back. If you scroll down, I feel like we're still on the same topic. This picture next to him.
Yeah. Ouch. It's an eye. It's an eye, Alison. It's an eye. Get your head out of the gutter. It's an eye. I promise.
I'm just saying.
We're not trying to meet the two pictures to each other and procreate. But oh man. Anyway, yeah. That's what I want. Lovingly. And he referenced it. Not others. He said, "Oh, they lovingly call me that, the Eye of Sauron." Lovely.
Lovingly.
Perfect.
Right.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to keep moving on. I'm going to find something that's, well, light or at least ironic or at least interesting. So here's one for you. We have an author and she wrote a book. And the book was How to Murder Your Husband. She's on trial for murdering her husband.
Oh my God.
So isn't this?
Did she write the book?
Did she write the book?
Or the essay, sorry. Did she write the essay long before she did it? Or did she do the murder and then write the essay, in between getting caught?
Years before. I don't know how many years before. But
wow.
She definitely did it. Or, I mean, she definitely wrote it. Not guilty until proven, whatever. But on trial for it. So let's see. We got another one.
How did she do it? Or I guess how does the essay say to do it? And then do we know what she's accused of doing?
Well, she shot him. I didn't read the essay. You see, you got to call me out. I'm working with a professional. Allison essentially is telling you that Allison would have read the essay to find the parallels. I'm too lazy. I found the article and got the joke and the punchline, but I'm not going to go read the essay to make the comparison between the two.
It seems like if your shooting is just such a waste of literary freedom. I mean,
it is, but it's probably one of the best ways to kill somebody, technically. In terms of being distant, things like that, if you have an untraceable gun or whatever. how many mob hits are unsolved every year?
Right.
But yeah, I don't know if Ricada is going to cover that trial, Ziggy, from the chat. All right, so then, yeah, we've got another one coming up here, and this one, okay. I was going to open with this in the terms of haha, but really, it's not haha. It's really actually sad, and everybody is, talking about this right now. But I don't know if you've seen this. It's
Yeah.
Biden with Obama.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the president, folks, of the United States. Yeah. And there's Obama. Everybody's crowded around, happy as can be. Yay. Now this does continue on. He greets somebody, but wow. It's really, really sad. I mean,
Yeah, that was
I
sad.
look at that and it's like, it's not a joke anymore. Or it never was a joke. I don't think. Now, because I do want to be fair, I will say that there is a campaign on to clean things up, and they're claiming that Fox News actually cut the videos together in a manner to make it look as if he was confused. And I think that there's a fuller video down here. See that this one stops before he's introducing. So let me see. Is this
that
the
Biden
full
doesn't
clip?
know what on earth he's doing, or at times where he even is. And that's the angle.
All right, so there's a little bit more, and it continues on. Okay, so, and I wanted to play that because I don't want to sit there and say, okay, I'm picking on the guy and saying that he looks lost. It looks like he's looking for somebody. But do you usually find the person behind the curtain? So I'm allowing for full context here.
It's still sad that nobody wants to talk to him, that they're all just crowding around Obama and they don't want to talk to Biden, or am I reading too into that?
No. I mean, it's obviously the cool kids back. Hell, Biden actually called him vice president. And he said, this is a joke.
Biden vice president.
Yes, he did. Yes.
Right.
And then he said, ha. And then they embraced. It was all a big joke. But it's like, no.
Yeah, I know. And wasn't there a point, I don't know if we saw it in that video, but wasn't there a point where Biden put his hand on Obama's shoulder and he just ignored him?
I didn't catch that one. I mean, it could be. I didn't see that though. But okay, so I'm still fighting to find something light. So we'll try one more. You know about Leah Thomas, right? And I know that you know JP Sears. Leah Thomas is the famous, very, very natural female swimmer that's breaking all the records.
Oh yeah.
Well, JP Sears, we'll just watch a minute or so, but because it's appropriate, he captures the moment.
Of becoming the top female swimmer for 1 year, but getting here wasn't easy. I first learned how to swim when I was 7 years old at Boy Scout camp. What might surprise you is I was actually a really slow swimmer at first. And stayed a really slow swimmer through the first couple years of my collegiate career. Then I turned 23 and all of a sudden I'm the best swimmer in the women's division. And I can't track exactly what.
How was that? Let me see. Oh, wait. I was really slow. And then my third year, I took a year off in little hormone treatment and I'm the best in the world. Yeah, he's captured. Hold on.
Guess I'm just a late bloomer. Because swimming's been such a big part of my life for so long, it's where my happiness comes from. You can't have happiness without penis. I've never noticed that before.
And that's a perfect point to
And
wind
he's
up on.
covering. Oh my gosh.
He's got a
Wow.
similar build. Have you seen Leah?
Yeah.
I mean, Leah's like sitting there, a foot taller than every other freaking female swimmer. The ripped shoulders, the Michael Phelps long, lanky build. Anyway, everybody, please go check out the full video. I don't want to do the whole thing and take away his credit, but he nails it as usual. Absolutely, totally has that. And I know I'm going at everything hard today, but I'm just sitting here like, let's go ahead. And now we're going to go into something that's, I'd say, actually kind of truly scary. And I don't know, have you seen Madonna lately?
No.
Here, let me remind you. Sexy. Now, this is the fun part, and the part that I really want to share. Fans compare Madonna to Jar Jar Binks after her TikTok new look reveal. This is Scott Adams, right? So this is from today, 11:59 a.m. Let's look at the article. Fans compare Madonna to Jar Jar Binks. Okay. And let's go ahead and look at here. Here we go. Here's her look. I can't do any more because I'll get a copyright done. Now, what I love here is look.
I'm not seeing anything, Eric.
Oh, is it not shared with you?
No.
Oh,
same,
weird.
Same thing.
Oh, you know what? I'm so sorry. Hold on. Here we go. All right. So now do you see it?
Yeah.
All right. So let me go back and let me turn off the sound so that way I can do this. Come on. Oh, did it go off again?
I'm not seeing it.
Hold on.
Well, yes, it was on the screen. It's on the screen.
All right.
It's there. Yeah.
Let me make sure. Here we go. This is her.
I can see that.
Okay, so that's her little TikTok she's mouthing to Frozen. But the part I think is funny is who put out the tweet that is saying the article that she's being compared to Jar Jar Binks? Scott Adams, right?
Yeah, Scott Adams. Yeah. The one you just showed. Yeah.
And in the article from April 4th, 2 days ago, Madonna is transforming into Jar Jar Binks and no one is talking about it. That's a slick move. And that to me is the most interesting thing about this entire deal. Scott Adams, literally, if you look at this, he put out the message that she's turning into Jar Jar Binks. Then somebody picked it up, and then now he's promoting it as if he just discovered it. That's kind of like what would you call that? Like a Scott Adams inception moment here or something?
It says a lot about him that he didn't go, hey, everyone, look, after I tweeted that she looks like Jar Jar Binks, now everyone's comparing them.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, I just want to share that.
She's had a lot of surgery. Damn.
She looks just weird. I mean, good for her. God bless all that. But weird. So on to some actual news. We have, wow, did I go? Oh, it went straight to the, okay, it doesn't matter. Everybody knows that Elon Musk has bought a chunk of Twitter. I think it's 9.6%. Elon Musk now has also on the board of directors. And one of the first things he tweeted out, and I thought it was pretty funny. Let me see. It doesn't show his tweet, but he tweeted out whether they wanted to have an edit button. And in the tweet about that, he said, do you want to edit? And it was like on instead of yes or no. And then he misspelled both words. And then, of course, half the people out there who were saying, let me see. Here we go. Can you see the tweet?
Can you make it bigger?
Do you want an edit button? It's up top. I'm hoping it. All right.
Yeah, got it.
YSE and then on instead of yes and no.
On purpose.
Of course, but of course, it's like catnip for idiots, because
Right.
sure as hell, a ton of people immediately like circled it and did screenshots and everything else to say, yeah, if you could do it right, you dummy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you don't get it.
Right.
Now, we got to talk about Elon for a while. This is one of the main subjects here tonight, and the edit button, because I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. I used to think that, oh yeah, edit button would be cool, but my opinion is more nuanced now. So what are your thoughts? Do you think that we should have an edit button, or there should be an edit button in Twitter?
I can't see why not. I mean, I guess I could see, oh, you shouldn't be able to edit, it should be out there, but people can delete them. So
Right.
I don't see it as any different than having delete.
I actually do. And the reason is that the delete means that any reply shows that you deleted the tweet. So you've made a significant major change. So my thought is that with the edit button, like, okay, let's say I say something asinine, and then you reply or comment on it, and then I change it to something more nuanced. And then it looks like you're piling on me, or you're making a commentary. So I'm kind of like, I sort of like the idea of that tweet is out there, and either I stand by it and follow it up with something else, or I delete it. But it's like, I made the statement.
Yeah.
I might be drunk. I might make another. I might be whatever, but I still have to own it. So,
well, what if they said, if you do edit it, it shows edited under it?
But then what did you really say? It really doesn't give that full.
I see. Yeah, I can see what you're saying. I mean, all the other social media platforms allow you to edit. So, but I can understand what you're saying with Twitter. It's kind of a different beast. So I see your point. Well,
that was kind of a unique feature of it, actually, in that sense, where it's like, yeah, you're right. They all did do it, but then that was something that made it stand apart. And because of the, ephemeral nature of it, like the rapidness, like Twitter, I think is designed in a way to be like a free flowing conversation where I can't take back what I just said 2 minutes ago. I just said it. And you're supposed to be in that stream of consciousness mode.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I used to think, edit, because I came from everything else. But over time, I thought about it. I was like, oh, you know what? No, because you can delete it and then you have to put up another tweet. And then you either acknowledge it or you don't acknowledge it. And then that says something about you too.
Yeah. I see.
Somebody's saying that edits should be time limited. I've heard that, but what's the time? Is it 30 seconds? I guarantee that I'll figure out, oh, Jesus, I did the typo exactly 31 seconds after I do it, or 3 minutes and 1 second, or 5 minutes and 2 seconds, or whatever it is. It's a hard thing. And good question. Jeffrey Fildy. Why am I using Twitter at all? Because that's where people are, because I want people to hopefully watch my show, because I want to get the word out. And this is going to sound really impolite, so hopefully everybody doesn't run off, but there is truth to this. One advantage to Twitter as a creator is the expectation in the amount of reply is very small, versus Facebook, where you can write 5-6 paragraphs. So if somebody writes like an entire novel to you in a post, I'm one who feels kind of guilty if I don't give back at least some degree of the same level. And that truthfully is very time consuming, and it's very difficult for me. So then I'm just going to kind of blow it off or ignore it possibly, or just worry myself or fret on it. On Twitter, nobody expects me to say anything more than a sentence or a phrase or anything else. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I think if you're codependent with people in your comment section, that's your fault, not the platforms. But however, I do see your other point, which is, I think the best point, if I were you and I'm going to go debate somebody, I'd stick to your original point, which is exactly what you're saying. Like the replies should reflect the original statement. And I also agree with you that the uniqueness of the platform is that it is sort of just quick, pithy, free flow thought, not necessarily like spilling my soul to the world. Though that happens in the threads, obviously. But
No, but I understand, Alice. The difference is that I have a heart.
oh, between you and me, and
Yes.
that's why I don't
Yes.
feel like I have to
Yeah,
mirror
yeah,
people
yeah.
back.
You call it codependency. I call it a heart.
That's what most codependents call codependency. That's why they stay codependent, because they think that's what it is.
All right, so we're into counseling now. But on a more important note, because I care about money, thank you, Musings of Apathy. Note it is edited, but the edited is a link that shows the edits with the date and timestamp. You can see how it started before the. Yeah, but then now we've got a whole entire structure of having to have like a audit trail of tweets, which just seems kind of insane. I understand it, but it does add a whole lot of overhead.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't have a good answer. I just I am old, so I'm saying that don't make changes. What are you going to do? But there is one more element of it.
And maybe also, I just had this thought. Maybe also, though I don't think this necessarily applies to everyone, but perhaps the fact that like once it's out makes people stop and think for a second. Do I really want to say this? Because like I can't change it. And you take a second and read it. And obviously there are people out there who just it's very clear by their account that they're not doing that. But maybe for some people it prompts a little bit more consideration. I don't know.
True. Who is? Oh, Faye Page has a great point here. The war is being fought on Twitter. Other platforms are redundant. Has Trump even posted on Truth Social? Yes. What? Okay, and we can get into the more on Twitter. It's easy to beat it up because it is a shithole would be a good term, but it also is where everybody is. Like if you want to go on Getter or you want to go on another one, you're going to have kind of a ghettoized experience, an even stronger echo chamber. One thing about Twitter is you will find people with whom you disagree. Absolutely. Almost automatically just by its nature. So it is kind of the scrum, if you will, where everybody can fight it out. And almost all the journalists are things like that. And I put journalists in scare quotes, present company excluded. But it is useful. And then has Trump even posted on Truth Social? I think he's posted once or twice. I don't know. I actually officially did get on Truth Social and I've used it exactly once or twice, I think, ever. And I could give two shits about it. I think it's a garbage heap and it's going nowhere. I think Getter is better slightly, but I almost did a video mocking Getter and mocking Parler with the fact that the first thing they started off with is a stupid name. I mean, let's think about it. Parler is supposed to be parlay. So you name something in a manner that nobody can say, and then you have to give up on it and say, okay, fine, it's Parler. Then you have another platform where you just hate that extra vowel and you go, like early oddies version of hip web 2.0 of Getter, Gettr. And then you're thinking, okay, what is it? Larry and the Cable Guys Network? Get her done. Get her word out there. Stupid. So that's horrible. Truth.social is not as bad, but they all kind of suck. All of them are trying to be, oh, look, I'm going to copy Twitter. I'm going to try to clone it or be that or replace that. I do think it would be better, and I hate to say it, but if you can actually fix Twitter. And I think you and I were texting earlier. You're suspicious whether that can happen. And I think it's very reasonable. Do you think that Elon Musk having a stake in Twitter will lead to reasonable changes or just keep him safe from any kind of banning?
I don't know what I think of Elon Musk. So I'm not really convinced that I'm debating whether the white knight on the horse is going to have an effect, because I don't know if he's a white knight, if you know what I mean. Like I'm not really convinced about him and his goals for humanity. So I'm just watching and waiting, and I'm going to see about this one. I'm not celebrating. I think I'm curious to see what this is all about. Anytime a lot of people are like going in one direction nowadays, I go, what's up here?
Well,
So I don't
Yeah,
know.
sure.
I don't know
Bottom
how I
line-
feel about it yet.
Bottom line, he is a billionaire, and
Yeah.
he did in one move.
And he wants
earn
to, I think
600
he
million.
wants us to all have chips in our head. I'm pretty sure that's like one of his things.
He has talked about, but he also hates AI. He's terrified.
He
of
does.
it.
He does seem to take the dangers of AI seriously, so I'll give him
Mhm.
that. I mean, he says a lot of stuff that I totally agree with. The also, he just, I don't know. I just
He likes both free speech and
skeptical.
hair plugs.
He what?
He likes both free speech and hair plugs.
Hair plugs. Yeah. how
Anyway,
can you
he's
like
part of the PayPal mafia. And it's very interesting. It's him, Peter Thiel, Jack Dorsey's in that mix. And it would be like, I would love to see Peter Thiel buy another 10%. I do think that Elon Musk is into free speech. So that's one thing I do like about him. It's like, he does like to fight with people. He
Mhm.
does like to have that open dialogue. So that there alone, because I don't want Twitter to become a right-wing platform. That's horrible too. I just want it to just be an open platform. I stop all the bullshit and let people hash it out.
Mhm.
I mean, right now it's like Twitter is only censored if a person has a against the narrative leaning, but you can find prawn. I'll be like the Corday and others. You can't say that word. So you have to say prawn, as if it's shrimp, but everybody knows what I'm talking about. And other things on there. No problem, no question. Extreme violence. All of this can be found on Twitter. No problem. But if you say the wrong thing about a widely spread medication, chunk. If you say something about, shall we say, a candidate's son's laptop, you can be blocked, even if you're a media organization. What? So that is the issue. It's like just pull that off, and then everybody will know going in. Be careful when you enter that door. You may see some things that are pretty ugly. Or you can even say, put up a nanny mode. Say, here you go. Here's nanny mode. Can I select nanny mode? Okay, here's nanny mode. That works too, right? There's block lists. There's all kinds of stuff. But just let the actual people talk. And he does seem to be behind that. But speaking of that, what the biggest request for him right now, apparently coming out, is guess what?
What?
I'm just wondering if you can guess. What would be the one thing they want to have returned to Twitter?
Trump.
Yep.
I said this in my media show that I do with Bill Doris, who's also in TV news. We do it for our supporters over on Locals and Rockman. Alison Morrow at locals.com. Don't forget to go over there after the show. And don't also forget to go to AlisonWinePromo.com. That's Alison with 1L winepromo.com. But we were talking about that, and Bill was like, no, I think that would just be terrible. It would be terrible. It would just bring back divisiveness and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, but first of all, it would be funny. But secondly, it's like,
no, wait, Bill doesn't want Trump back?
No.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's not really a fan. But I'm not, I didn't vote for the guy, but I still would love to see him on Twitter just for my amusement. And honestly, I don't feel like you're really, until people like him and Alex Jones get back on the platforms, I don't think you really have done anything different.
No. And then they start a conversation. You don't have to like them. You can hate him. It's like Howard Stern private parts. You can block him. Holy cow. That's just so weird. Yeah, you've seen private parts, right? With Howard Stern?
I've seen parts of it. I don't think I've seen the whole thing, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the station manager walked up and they said, I've never seen anything like this. People who love him, they listen longer than anybody. It's like 25 minutes or whatever it was. And they were like, oh, wow, it's amazing. Yeah, but check this out. People who hate him, they listen for twice as long as that.
Right.
What? They want to hear what he says next. Well, Trump is like that.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy. Why not have the guy in there? And again, he's the one major source. You can block him. They even have like block lists. Like you can block anybody who follows him. So I just don't get it. I do not get this whole wanting a nanny thing. I'm very, very sad. I kind of wish he was here so I could start yelling at him right now, but he's not. So I'm like, you're into the news, you're into First Amendment, right? I mean, what?
Yeah.
Oh.
Somebody said, so you didn't vote for him, you voted for FJB. No, I didn't vote for him either. Actually, in 2020, I voted for my daughter. She was 9 months old at the time. I was very hopeful, but turns out it wasn't to be.
Well, she's probably a little more competent than FJB, as they put it, or
they might both wear diapers. I don't know.
LGB.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so on to I guess a less controversial subject. This just popped in. I haven't even gone in depth with it, but the headline is here. Have you read up on it more? I think you sent it to me, actually.
Right.
Wow. Apparently the Pentagon has declassified over 1,500 pages of UFO stuff, and I guess this took a few years. I dug a little further and found it the Sun article. I think these are all quoting the Sun, but the bottom line was completely crazy. Well, it's actually in the headline though. Unaccounted pregnancy and heart palpitations. How in God's name do you come up with an unaccounted pregnancy? Am I the only one freaked out by this? I mean, this is the first unaccounted pregnancy since Christ, isn't it?
I don't know. I feel like in today's, anyone can have a kid thing. There might be a lot of those right now.
Oh my God. Are you saying then that this is the great move forward for the trans community that in fact, you know what, maybe that's it. Allison, are you saying that a man could be pregnant and this is how?
I'm hoping I can run for the Supreme Court nomination on that ticket alone. That's what I'm
And
going
what in the world?
I don't know what a woman is or a man. I'm just gonna I'm not a biologist.
Oh yeah, neither is our next Supreme Court justice, who did get passed through, by the way.
That's why I'm saying it.
All right. Well, I don't.
The one thing can I just add this? The one thing that I guess concerns me from like a medical perspective for people who, I guess would be like, no, it's just whatever you just come up with, is like. I mean, there are like for your health, for your actual health, like there are certain things like nutritionally, certain cancers, things that you would, I don't know. I would just like, my doctor should know that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just think even just from like a health perspective, it would concern me to just like throw that completely aside.
Right. Sorry about that. Oops. Careful of wild tabs.
I got time for one more, Eric, and then I gotta run.
Okay, well,
Honey, I'm Prager's. It was aliens, I swear.
They're talking about all the preteen pregnancies that are now we've got a reason for it, that it's been happening for decades or centuries even, and yeah, probably. Yeeks. Okay, so this one, we're talking about evolution, right? So this is kind of an interesting, fun story. Actually, I wanted to get you on the next one too, so it's really frustrating. Charles Darwin notebooks apparently were stolen from this library. And I guess they just showed up. And somebody had left them in this pink bag here.
Why wouldn't you have that locked up?
Well, it is now. But I don't know how they disappeared or anything else. It's just this kind of crazy. It's 15 months after they had gone missing. And there's a worldwide appeal to find them. And then somebody left this, which I just love.
Librarian, happy Easter. Wow.
Kiss. Yeah. And I guess they were wrapped in a like cling film like this.
Wow.
And are in perfect condition. I guess they came back just fine. So it's a happy note.
Yeah.
But Okay, well, I deliberately went quick because you have to be here for this
I
one.
have mom duties. Mom
I know.
duties with the kiddo.
But you got to speak to this. This is a journalist. This is your bit.
Yeah, I didn't read this one. Tell me what happened again.
All right. Amber Athey is fired over a Kamala Harris outfit tweet. This is the tweet. It's about what she was wearing. Kamala looks like a UPS employee. What can Brown do for you? Nothing good, apparently.
Oh my God.
She was
and
fired.
She worked where?
Cumulus. And I think Cumulus.
And she's a conservative.
Yeah. A conservative talk show host.
It's obvious she's talking about UPS.
Yeah, since that was an entire advertising campaign, what can Brown do for you was literally the slogan. So I'm trying to figure out exactly why would they fire her. I have a feeling that it has something to do with that slogan, that they may be misappropriating what she said, but what she said was, in fact, that she looks like, anyway.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts,
You know,
Alison?
I just saw, well, I mean, listen, if you're a journalist, you shouldn't be writing stuff like that anyway. So to me, it's like,
well, she's a talk show host.
Okay,
and probably
an
opinion journalist.
That wasn't racist. That was just her talking about UPS. There was a kid. Somebody just sent me an article. Some kid on the west side of Washington, near Seattle, was just suspended because she posted a picture holding her gun, and she said, "I'm going to hunt raccoons without the RA."
Oh, got it.
And she was suspended. It was like the police were like, no, she meant like raccoons are getting into their chicken coops and all this stuff. And she was going to, but the principal was like, that's hate speech, and suspended her. I don't,
you know what? I would tell you something. I look at that, and when you say the principal says it's hate speech and all that, I would question whether that principal is in fact a racist. Because they recognize the words.
Yeah,
they're seeking it on the tip of their tongue.
Right. Yeah.
So somebody who doesn't think that way would just be confused. However, they know every racist term possible. Why do you know that? Why are you so conversant about every racial, sexual, whatever term, unless it's in your mind, your dirty ass mind?
Yeah, like there was that episode of The Office where I think we've talked about this before, where Michael Scott has sensitivity diversity day. And so he's like asking everyone to say what they are. And Oscar's like, I'm Mexican. And he goes, no, you're Hispanic. Don't say that. And he's like, no, I'm actually from Mexico. I'm Mexican. He's like, don't say that. That's racist. He's like, no, it's not. It's just a country. Like, I'm from Mexico. But it's true. Like when people go, he's got a black neighbor, or like they're from Mexico. It's like, why are you whispering? So, and it's usually my liberal friends that are the ones that are like, he's black, or he's Mexican. So you're like, okay. And I agree with you, because the students was like, 15 or 14 or 15. I don't even know if that's like in her age group's vocabulary anyway, as a racist term, but she said she didn't know that and was totally taken out of context, but doesn't matter.
Yeah, because they see it and therefore they prescribe it to them. Whatever.
Yeah, so nowadays anybody in leadership in an area, especially like Seattle, is just going to bend to the mob, and even if they do or do not think like the mob, they're just going to do whatever the mob wants. That's just how it works, unfortunately. So well, thank you guys for having me on. And Eric, you're going to stay on for a little bit?
Yeah, you going to plug your wine? Oh, yeah. This is the professional shopping app.
AlisonWinePromo.com. Alison with 1L winepromo.com. 50% off of my favorite Malbecs from Argentina and 50% off shipping. You get 3 wines actually in the grouping. One is from the oldest vineyard in Argentina. Another is an extreme altitude Malbec, which is almost 9,000 feet. That means a very distinct flavor because the grapes are working so hard. And the third, they use natural fermentation, which is very interesting because I don't know, I haven't tested it, a healthier nutritional component to it along with probiotics. So that's my sell, AlisonWinePromo.com. See you there.
All right. So everybody help out Allison. And I'm not leaving yet, so don't go running off. I get left from Allison to get the other story that she shared with me. And yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll just
God.
say I saw this on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, and they came back from the priest or pastor talking about why they're doing it. And he goes, "What a Satan worshiping, lost, cowardly beta male guy." He just like went off on him. So I was like, wow. But yeah, I'm surprised that people are still like churches are still doing this. I'll leave it there.
This is Evergreen all over again. Didn't we learn from Evergreen when we said, okay, everybody white, go home. We don't want anything white. I mean, this is the same.
But, you know, I went to seminary, and I guess I'm not shocked because like the beginnings of this were happening when I was there in 2000. I was 2004 to 2007 at Boston University School of Theology. And it was starting to get to the point where you couldn't ask questions in class about certain topics. Like I took a queer theology class, but if you ask questions in it about like for instance, and basic questions like why would you see God as a she, or you know why, because like that's what queer theology is all about, right? Like God is she, mother, all these whatever, not father, and get rid of patriarchy and blah blah blah.
Well, it's postmodernist too. It's tear down and then put up anew. And
yeah, but if you ask questions, you would be seen as like all these misogynistic or homophobic or whatever, and why I saw that as like a predecessor to what we have today, which is really like, at least when I was there, you still could, but like you knew there was possibly a danger in speaking up. Now it's like, I bet you go to these classes and you don't hear any dissenting opinion whatsoever. And all the professors are hired.
Not out loud. Nobody would say it out loud. If I was there, I'd keep my mouth shut.
My one of my really good friends, her husband, they're not divorced, but he teaches New Testament at a very well-known institution in California, in LA. And you're going to be able to figure this out now because he's written a couple books. Sorry, buddy. I'm just going to tell everybody. Anyway, so he wrote a book about breaking up with Paul, the apostle. And he blames everything, like all the things in his life, he blames on Paul. And my friend, she wrote me, she was like very depressed. She's like, at the beginning, her whole takeaway from it was like, he credits all these people, but not the fact that I had to go with him all over the world. So he could go to this fellowship and that fellowship. And, he never even gives any credit. And I go, hey, he's blaming everything on a guy who's been dead for 2,000 years. Like, do you think this guy, I mean, he thinks everything is somebody else's fault. And I think in a lot of ways, there's like a lot of these people that go to whether it's seminary, it's just, these sort of higher level philosophy, or like just you're deconstructing reality or deconstructing personality. And they live in academia, or the church has basically become academia, especially these like sort of high church Episcopal or other denominations, and it just like they've deconstructed everything to the point where like I'm not shocked that I hear more and more about the churches having fewer people coming to church, more depression, all of these things, because there's like, it's just you just go and they just add more burden to you.
Who wants to deal with it? It's pain. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, it's just like okay, you're not a sinner for that reason, but you're definitely a sinner for this reason. So it's just like it's just switching a lot of stuff, but it's still burdening people with a heavy yoke. And it's just having gone to school with them, and then like I said, my friend's ex-husband, I just look at it and I'm like, God, I want to just dunk these people in a cold tank of water, and I don't know, force them to just like go to Subway and sit down with like one person who's just have to talk to an average American, just like your average American. You don't get to talk about this stuff you're talking about right now with like all your elite academic friends. You have to talk about football, or you have to talk about, something you bought at like Dollar General. Like, you're not allowed to talk about Paul and how he ruined your life. You're just not. And I don't know if they could, because this is what they do. They're like obsessed over these kinds of topics.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna let it go, since I had to comment on that because that's my background.
Well, thank you, and see you next time, Miles.
Bye.
Bye. All right, next story that we have, and we're rolling out to the end. We'll be done after a bit. Amazon apparently has their own chat app, and it's kind of fun because Amazon wants to ban certain words. And these include union and slave labor. Wonder why? Why would they want to do that? See, here's one that needs to be. This is concerning. Prison, unite, committee, restrooms. Yeah. When somebody tweeted about this before, I put out the comment. I was like, oh, why didn't P Bottle make that list? Did any of you read the story about the drivers and the pee bottles with Amazon? Which I thought was really funny, actually, at the time, because anybody who's done a lot of driving, if they get caught in the middle of the wilderness or whatever, it's not that uncommon to have that. But this is just ludicrous. And by the way, this is Jeff Bezos' company. Jeff Bezos, who owns the Washington Post. The Washington Post, whose slogan is that, what is it? The truth dies in the dark, or something like that. What could go wrong? Jeez, no, what a wonderful company. I'm sure that everybody wants to see that. I agree, Ziggy shrugs. That is disgusting. Now, in order to make something even more disgusting or more crazy, I do pull out wild stories and try to share them with you, because Cherokee Girl, no, that Amazon bit, that was not a joke. That is absolutely real. That well, why should it be different? Twitter bans things, YouTube bans things. What did I say earlier? I said prawn, and I wasn't talking about a seafood salad or a appetizer. I was talking about another activity, because we always have to tap dance and everything. Now, this is a mind blower. Apparently, there was a rapper in Washington, D.C. who was shot down and killed in March. And everybody, we have wakes and things like that, right? So what kind of a wake, or what would you do for a rapper who was gunned down? Well, they have a different solution. They threw a giant ass party at a club, and they put the embalmed rapper up to join them. Which is really wild. 24 years old, guys. I mean, this is so freaking tragic and sad. So, yes, I'm not going to linger, because I'm already going to get in enough trouble with YouTube on this stuff. But yes, they actually literally had the embalmed rapper up on the stage, and they had a party around him. Definitely wild. Definitely something unique. It is somebody said party at a strip. I didn't look that far. I hope it wasn't at a strip club. That oh my God, that is horrible. So anyway, I had to share that was a mind blower. I'm like, okay, that is a truly unique experience. So I am going to go out with one more story, because Good Logic, Joe Neerman, has a show at 10, and I do try to be respectful, like a come on after Viva, and I want to make sure people who wanted to go check out Joe, that I'm not cutting into his time too much. I do think that this is a really important story, though. I want to close on this story, and then I'm going to close on a song. I got permission from Akira the Dawn to play it out as well. But the story is important. And this woman was pulled over by a fake cop. And this is somebody who was driving an unmarked Suburban. And they had lights actually put in there. And by the way, lights can be purchased now. A lot of these things can be purchased. And somebody could do a good job faking that they're a cop. So she was confused by this. She seemed to be going the right, speed and everything else. But literally, she got pulled over and she thought, hey, maybe it was expired tags. So she pulled over, and then the guy stepped out of the SUV wearing a cowboy hat and a gun. When he presented his badge, she noticed there was no badge number. Now, keep this in mind. That is a pretty minor detail, and we're going way down this transfer, or this encounter here before she noticed it. And I am deliberately wanting to point that out because it is dangerous out there, and there are fakers out there. Very famously, have any of you heard of the actor Peter Lorre? Peter Lorre is a very famous actor. I believe he's in Casablanca. He was also in a movie called M in the 30s, one of the greatest movies ever made. Very hard to watch, but a brilliant movie. He was in Arsenic and Old Lace. He was in some Abbott and Costello. Anyway, he was a classic actor, Peter Lorre. Well, his daughter was pulled over in the 70s. And when she was pulled over and presented her ID, they noted the cop who pulled her over noticed that there was a picture of Peter Lorre in her wallet. And the cop said, hey, why do you have a picture of Peter Lorre? And she said, this is my dad, da, 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 da. And the cop said, wow, that's my favorite actor. Yeah, get out of here. And so she left. Why is this story important, and why am I bringing it up now? Well, it turns out a year later, that same cop was arrested. He was not a cop. That cop was a pair of serial killers known as the Hillside Strangler. And they posed as cops. And they pulled women over. And then they murdered them. And ironically, having a picture of her father in the wallet actually saved her life. So the moral of this story is essentially, please be careful out there. And if you read into literature, if you're not sure if somebody's a cop, or you're not sure what is going on, be very clear what you're doing, put on your hazard lights or whatever, and keep driving into a gas station and dial in, call 911, communicate with the police and tell them what you are doing, because they have radios everywhere, and they will radio out your location, and they will say, is there any cop out there right now? Because that's what this woman did. She called 911. She said, hey, I'm getting pulled over. What do I do? And they said, hey, there's no cop there. There's no cop out there right now. And so she got into argument. She said, you're not here. You're not here. And they argued, and she managed to get away. He ran off. But she literally could have died. And this is a very real deal. So if you're ever pulled over something and you don't know if it's real or anything else, get on the phone, call 911. Don't pull over immediately. Don't make a nuisance of it. Be very clear, hazard lights or whatever, that you're driving, you're being careful or anything else. But get on the phone, dial 911. Even if you get yelled at by them later saying, how dare you, it doesn't matter. You'll have the call, you'll have the cell record. You can prove that later in court. But when they come, when the rest of the cops come or somebody else comes out there, then you will know, in fact, that you are legitimately being pulled over. It's not unreasonable to do this. And Cherokee Girl, you are correct. Always listen to your gut. Gavin DeBecker wrote a book about it called The Gift of Fear. It is there for a reason. you need to pay attention. There's some scary people out there. So that is a dark note, but to end this out on a lighter note, I'm going to play a, maybe I will. Okay, I'm going to play a little bit of the latest Akira the Dawn video. This song actually came out a couple years ago. I got permission from him to play this as part of the show. I know him. He's actually been on this exact show. Elon Musk is in the news. So let's close out with a little bit of Elon Musk. Have a wonderful evening.
Not bad for a human, but I think we'll not be able to hold a candle to AI. It's less of a worry than it used to be, mostly due to taking more of a fatalistic attitude. It's not necessarily bad. It's definitely going to be outside of human control. Yeah, it's not necessarily bad. It's just outside of human control. I try to convince people to slow down AI, to regulate AI. This was futile. I tried for years. Nobody listened. I tried to convince people to slow down AI, to regulate AI. This was futile. I tried for years. Nobody listened. A company is essentially a cybernetic collective of people and machines. That's what a company is. And then there's different levels of complexity in the way these companies are formed. Is there sort of like a collective AI in the Google search, where we're all sort of plugged in as like nodes on the network, like leaves on a big tree. We're all feeding this network without questions and answers. We're all collectively programming the AI. And Google, plus all the humans that connect to it, are one giant cybernetic collective. This is also true of Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all these social networks. They're giant cybernetic collectives. I try to convince people to slow down AI, to regulate AI. This was futile. I tried for years. Nobody listened. I tried to convince people to slow down AI, to regulate AI. This was futile. I tried for years. Nobody listened. It feels like we are the biological bootloader for AI. Effectively, we are building it. And then we're building progressively greater intelligence. The percentage of intelligence that is not human is increasing. And eventually, we will represent a very small percentage of intelligence. The AI is informed, strangely, by the human limbic system. It is our id writ large. All those things, the sort of primal drives, all the things that we like and hate and fear, they're all there on the internet. They're a projection of our limbic system. I try to convince people to slow down AI, to regulate AI. This was futile. I tried for years. Nobody listened. I try to convince people to slow down AI, to regulate AI. This was futile. I tried for years. Nobody listened. Normally the way that regulations work is very slow. Very slow indeed. If you look at, say, automotive regulations, how long did it take for seatbelts to be required? You know, the auto industry fought seatbelts, I think, for more than a decade. The numbers were extremely obvious. If you had a seatbelt on, you would be far less likely to die or be seriously injured. It's unequivocal. Eventually, after many people died, regulators insisted on